Hey guys, Jonah Mathis here. Today we're looking at a soundbar from a brand I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with. That's right, Bose. Today we'll be looking at the Bose Smart Soundbar 900. What's really nice about this soundbar is that you can connect a wireless subwoofer and wireless surround speakers to it, but I'll discuss all about that later on. The Bose Smart Soundbar 900 has one of the highest quality builds in terms of durability and aesthetics. No joke, I could see this thing in a living room for years down the road, and still looking brand new. What makes it stand out the most is that Bose stepped away from cloth altogether. This enclosure is made entirely out of metal and it has a glass top. I think these things really give the Soundbar 900 an edge over most. As someone who has 3 cats, I can speak for most in saying that an all-cloth sound system is just impractical and not very appealing. They thought about all aspects of the design, by even angling the ports on the back of the soundbar to make connecting everything a lot easier. That may sound like a small detail, but after testing many soundbars, the small details count. Additionally, there are touch capacitive buttons that are layered seamlessly on the top left of the soundbar. These include a mute button for the built-in microphone, an action button to control Amazon Alexa or the Google Assistant. As far as the build size, I think the size is perfect. I'll talk about the big sound it has later, but for a soundbar that is right at 41 inches long and stands less than 3 inches tall, it's just about perfect. I could see this being an amazing addition to just about any living space. Now, the Bose Soundbar 900 by itself supports up to 5.0.2 channels of audio. This includes the 3 front firing channels, the 2 side firing channels on both sides, and the 2 upward firing channels. Supporting all the standard Dolby audio codecs up to Dolby True HD, this means you can get a lossless or lossy Dolby Atmos signal because this is a Dolby Atmos soundbar. Unfortunately, as of right now, the Bose 900 does not support any DTS audio codecs. However, it does support multi-channel PCM audio. So if you have a fairly large Blu-ray collection, you can enjoy movies with DTS audio, but you won't get the full DTS experience you may have wished for. The caveat to that is that you do need a Blu-ray player that can decode the DTS audio into PCM audio. So just make sure your Blu-ray player can do that. On the back of the soundbar, there's an HDMI eARC port, digital optical in, network, IR, adaptic, bass, data, and of course, power. So no, there aren't any HDMI inputs, which I know is a deal breaker for some people, but if you have a TV with ARC or eARC, you will be perfectly fine. You connect an included microphone to the adaptive port to calibrate the soundbar for your specific room. It's kind of an annoying process to do because you have to run the calibration from 5 different seating positions, but at least you only have to do it once. Unless you connect an additional component like the bass module 700 or surround speaker 700 to it. Then you have to rerun it, so make sure you don't lose the microphone. The only downside is the display. It does have a light on the front left that indicates when an action is made with either the remote or by using the app, but there's no display for volume, modes, or anything like that. I was able to test the all black model, but it does come in Arctic White as well. I thought this was pretty interesting because you rarely see a lot of sound systems out there come in anything but black, except for Sonos products. And lastly, there are 2 hidden mounting holes on the bottom of the soundbar. They're right underneath the 2 rubber pads. The wall mounting brackets are sold separately, by the way. I love being able to test soundbars like this one and to create videos like these. So if you don't mind quickly smashing the like button, it helps my channel grow and encourages YouTube to recommend my videos to more people. Thank you very much. Now on to one of my favorite parts of these videos, testing the sound performance. I extensively tested this soundbar with plenty of Dolby Atmos movies, Netflix shows, and a fair amount of music. Now, as usual, I do a lot of audio tests by watching movies like Ford vs. Ferrari and John Wick in Dolby True HD. I'm super familiar with how these movies should sound, so it's easy to compare it with other systems that I've listened to. The first thing I was curious about is how big of a difference Adaptic or the audio calibration tool could actually make. And let me say, the audio calibration makes a massive difference in my living room, like almost night and day. Before running it, the dialogue was pretty clear. Some of the higher frequencies were a little tinny, but there wasn't much feel of surround sound or really any low end at all. But after running it, dialogue became even more clear than it already was, and the low end from certain people's voices really stood out in a good way. The placement of the surround audio got a bit better, and it fixed a majority of the tinniness in certain scenes. The most impressive thing about the soundbar is the clarity of the dialogue. No matter what was happening in any scene, the dialogue was clearly and cleanly produced. Now, this is just a soundbar, a fairly compact one at that, so there isn't really much bass or oomph behind any big hits and action scenes. What it does better than most though is understand its limitations. It doesn't seem like it's trying to play the super low end punches that only a dedicated subwoofer would be able to handle, which is smart because if it tried to play them, it wouldn't sound good at all. The 3D audio from the soundbar itself is okay. This is definitely going to vary based on the size and more specifically the shape of your room. In my living room, there's a wall to the left of the soundbar and TV, then it's basically open on the right side. So sound tends to get lost on the right side, which is kind of to be expected. I've definitely had other systems perform better in my living room in regards to 3D audio though. The upward firing speakers were a little quiet at first, but I bumped them up to about +50 in the settings and they became much more evident. Still very crisp and clean, even with them being cranked up that much. I'm sure in a smaller room or rectangular room, the 3D audio performance would be a lot better. And music from the soundbar was really impressive. I think it's very, very close to the Sonos Arc, which has been my favorite for music for quite some time now. Again, the bass isn't super evident on many tracks, but for a few tracks, it actually does pretty well and gives a very tiny sense that there might be a subwoofer in the room, but those tracks are few and far between. Overall, it is very enjoyable to listen to, but this does come at a pretty high cost of $900. My only real pain points for the soundbar by itself are that sometimes the higher frequencies can be a bit too bright and harsh on the ears. The low end just isn't really there and the front sound image isn't as wide as you'd expect it to be. While it does a good job of filling the room with audio, it doesn't give you that solid separation like some other larger soundbars do. Before I talk about how this system sounds with the subwoofer and surround speakers, I want to take a moment to tell you about this awesome new tool I've been using. Like most of us, whenever you're looking for a new product, you're probably searching endlessly on YouTube, various websites, and you read countless Amazon reviews to help you make the most informed decision. Lustre is a free browser extension that does extensive product research for you, helping you find the best product for your money effortlessly. When you're on an Amazon product page, the Lustre tool will show you the ratings from trusted websites, if the product is on sale, and if the product is available somewhere else. If you go further, you can see why each product is chosen, and you're even provided with summaries and ratings from many sites that you already trust. One of the best parts is that you can adjust the price range to fit your budget. It's definitely saved me a lot of time and money when comparing different products. You can learn more about Lustre by clicking the link in the description. I'm sure it'll help you, and it's a way to directly support my channel. Thank you very much. To start out, I know there are a lot of opinions as to where you should place your subwoofer in your room, but I went with the tech giant's recommendation. Bose recommends placing the Bass Module 700 close to the same wall that the TV is on for the best performance. I also tested it in other locations in my living room just to be sure, and for me, it sounded the best exactly where they recommended it. In doing so, I got a pretty awesome result. This is the first subwoofer I've ever tested that has an upward firing driver, and that has a glass cover on the top. Very interesting design choice by Bose here, but I think they absolutely nailed it. I was very surprised with how well the bass was distributed across the entire room. With basically any soundbar system, I recommend buying the soundbar with the subwoofer. Otherwise, it just doesn't sound complete. See what I did there? The entire experience is taken to a new level with that added depth. No one part of these components goes beyond their limits. And I gotta say, their limits are pretty impressive to listen to. Once again, when I ran the Adaptive audio calibration, the 3D audio improved tremendously. But this time the low end became a lot more clear as well. With other systems, it's sometimes hard to tell the difference before and after the audio calibration, but Bose has really fine-tuned Adaptive. When I started the audio testing with the soundbar and sub together, the most outstanding thing about the sub was how well it created an immersive low-end feel to the room. For its size, all the impacts, gunshots, and action scenes felt like it was happening in your seat and all around you. The subwoofer is so immersive that if I was blindfolded, I wouldn't be able to identify where the bass was actually coming from. What most other subwoofers don't provide is an excellent transition from these action scenes in movies to the variations of music genres. But Bose is definitely up there with Sonos as one that can definitely handle accurate music playback. So I basically praise most things about the soundbar and subwoofer, but the surround speakers are where you hit a snag. One of the most difficult things about testing these was thinking about the size of them and especially the cost of them. These things are tiny, less than 6 inches tall and only 1.84 inches wide, weighing less than a pound, but at a super reasonable price tag of $550. I honestly didn't know much about the surround speakers before I bought them, but I was extremely surprised when I first unboxed them. On their sales page, it says it took a team of 30 people to perfect every last detail, ensuring the acoustics would would work with the aesthetics. I tried to give Bose the benefit of the doubt that these things might sound really good, but all in all, I was extremely let down. These surround speakers were definitely built with the aesthetics as the main priority, then the acoustics as more of an afterthought. Okay, enough ripping on Bose, let's talk about how they actually sound. So there are two drivers built into these tiny speakers, and they do a semi-decent job of producing higher frequencies, as they should, but that's really it. Anything more than that, they either give up and don't produce the sound at all, or basically all the details are lost. They can get pretty loud if you bump their levels up to plus 60 and up, but at that point, they really start to lose a lot of clarity. They do a pretty good job with the music and help spread the audio throughout the whole room, but they don't do a good job with directing audio in a single direction. This is due to the fact that they are omnidirectional speakers, so there are perforations on all four sides that allow audio to escape. This isn't really what you want with surround speakers. And the unfortunate thing is that there are only two different options for surround speakers that work with the Bose Soundbar 900. Either the Bose Surround Speaker 700, which I've been ranting about, and the Bose Surround Speakers, which are about half the height of the Surround Speaker 700, and still cost $350. Now I haven't used the normal surround speakers with this system, so I can't rant about them, but from their size, I can't imagine them blowing me away either. In my opinion, Bose really needs to up their game when it comes to their surround speaker offerings, if they want to better compete in the full surround sound soundbar market. This system is more user-friendly than most other systems. From the moment I turned on the system and began to set it up, each step was very easy to follow, and there were no surprises or research that needed to be done to get things going. In no more than 20 minutes, including the 15-minute firmware update, you'll be ready to go and set up to watch movies and stream audio. One thing I like about this system over other soundbar systems is the channel adjustments that you get inside of the app. Although you may think this is common, unfortunately it's not. Where most soundbars let you select sound modes, individually customizing the audio for the soundbar channels thoroughly impresses me more. Additionally, when you add the rear speakers and or the subwoofer to the system, the app recognizes them and adds audio adjustments for them underneath the soundbar's audio adjustments. Also, inside of the app is where you can connect the soundbar to Amazon Alexa or the Google Assistant, as well as run the adaptive audio calibration process that I've raved about earlier.
For Google Assistant, the closest I could find is 2021 newest Lenovo Smart Tab
Google,
with Google
shut up.
Assistant. It is 1280 by 800.
Shh.
It works.
It does work, yeah. All around, I was very impressed with the app. It's simple, easy to navigate, and doesn't take a tech whiz to understand how to use it. Although Bose did include a remote, you'll probably find yourself using the app a lot more, or simply using your TV's remote control to adjust the volume levels. The Bose remote has a simple design, but just doesn't pack the functionality that the app does. The soundbar by itself is an excellent product. It's hard to see many flaws that most other soundbars don't have as well. I think the quality and the longevity of the Smart Soundbar 900 are totally there, just not worth the price tag. The same thing goes for the subwoofer. With the quality of the products that are released every year at much better prices, it's just not justifiable to spend that extra dollar on Bose right now. Since this soundbar was released in September of 2021, and it takes Bose a few years to release another one, we likely won't see a price drop until a new product drops. Altogether, no, I don't think it's worth $900 for the Smart Soundbar 900, $800 for the Bass Module 700, and an insane $550 for the Surround Speaker 700. If you really love Bose and want to try it out, it may be good to start with just the soundbar and Bass Module 700. That way, there's a chance you can get a discount from purchasing them together. There have been opportunities to get $100 off if you go ahead and bundle them together from Bose and Crutchfield. Realistically though, I think a more accurate price would be $750 for the Smart Soundbar 900, $500 for the Bass Module 700, and $250 for the Surround Speaker 700, with a more realistic total of around $1,500. This price would be a lot more competitive in today's market. But this is Bose we're talking about. You're kind of paying for a premium name. I wish I could say that I can't imagine paying the full list price, but I did what I had to do so that you would have this detailed review. If you're interested in seeing an extremely comprehensive soundbar comparison video, check out my best Dolby Atmos soundbars of 2021 video. In that video, I compared this Bose system against the Sonos Arc system, Samsung HW-Q950A, Klipsch Cinema 1200, and Sony HT-A7000 system. I put a lot of work into that video, so definitely check it out if that's something that you're interested in. With that being said, please subscribe to my channel to help support me as I put out the most accurate and detailed videos that I can. Thanks for watching.